joined on the phones right now by one of my heroes from the Plasmatics and the Wendy O. Williams Band and other things in life. Welcome, Wes Beech, to the show. Hey, man, how are you?
Hey, great. How are you doing?
I'm great, man, now that you're here and it's your second time coming on the show.
It's true.
I don't remember what year, but I think maybe 5 or 6 years ago you were on when we were on a different channel.
Yeah, that's right.
You're in Michigan, right?
Right, just outside Detroit.
Wow, and you've been there pretty much your whole life except for when you've been on the road. Is that correct or no?
No, originally from New York. I've only been out here since about 86.
Okay. What made you go from the big city to Michigan? Was it just more chill, more laid back for you?
Well, actually, I met my wife here when we were on the road with the WOW tour, and then, the cost of living was so much better out here than in New York, and I was starting to tire of the rat race and the congestion and the crowdedness of New York, so moved out here and been out here ever since.
Nice. And, when the band broke up, like when Wendy O stopped doing music and the Plasmatics and all, the whole thing stopped, did you stop doing music as well, or did you continue with other projects?
No, I continued with other projects. Once I moved out here, I was doing some independent production work, and then I joined another band and played with them for about 7, 8 years, and did some various session work and producing here and there, and kind of winding down now, but stayed pretty active for a while.
Can I ask what the band was called that you had going for 7 or 8 years?
Oh, yeah, it was called Shock Therapy.
Awesome. I don't know.
They were kind of an electronic punk rock band. I kind of brought a little heavier edge to them. They were real big over in Germany, where we had a record deal, and they actually had some top 10 hits over there. And always tried to get something going over here. We never did, but real big over in Germany.
Interesting. I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah, I did about 4 or 5 albums with them. And we toured over there a bunch of times, and it was really a lot of fun. It was a little different than the Plasmatics, but still hard and aggressive. So,
now you played guitar and you did some keyboard work with the Plasmatics, right?
Right.
Because my buddy that runs our YouTube channel, Brother Rick in Kenosha, Wisconsin, wanted me to ask you if you still had a Moog synthesizer.
No, sadly I don't. That was the band's, and that I think they eventually ended up selling that.
Yeah, I remember that cool picture of you on the back cover of Metal Priestess. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
holding
that was pretty wild.
The black candle.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you this. I have a lot of questions I really want to ask you. What is your favorite Plasmatics album?
Favorite Plasmatics album? That's a good question. I kind of like Coup d'Etat just because it was in a heavier direction.
Yeah.
And I got to play a little more guitar on that one.
Boy, that was a good record, man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we spent a lot of time and work on that one.
Yeah, in the video for Children of the Damned, I believe, that was so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did that out in the Arizona desert. That was like a week of filming out there. It was pretty wild.
So you got to witness Wendy on the bus while the bus was like rolling and she was like on top of it and jumped off of it and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah. I remember standing there with Richie Stotts. We were watching that, and we were just hoping that nothing happened to her. She didn't fall off or, watch our career go down the drain right there.
Right. There goes our singer.
Yeah.
Speaking of video shoots, or shoots, period, another listener, Brother Bill over in Los Angeles, who is also listening right now, he was telling me that the New Hope for the Wretched cover, which was the first Plasmatics album, I believe full length, that picture was shot at a nudist camp with a bunch of old naked people standing around watching you do the shoot. Is that true?
Well, no, that's a rumor, but it was shot at a nudist camp.
Okay.
It was called Sunshine Park, and if you look in the window of the Cadillac in the pool, you can see the name backwards reflected in the window. Okay,
because he said something about they were like the only ones that would let you actually sink a car in the swimming pool.
I think that was the case. Yeah, that was in New Jersey.
Wow.
Not far from Atlantic City.
That's hilarious. What a great, if you haven't seen the first Plasmatics album cover, guys, you have to. New Hope for the Wretched, for those of you that are a little younger, check it out on Google or whatever. But it's such a classic album cover.
That was a wild time because we spent like all day there. It was about a 95-degree day, sweltering in the heat, getting the pictures just right. And then we also filmed a promo video for Monkey Suit.
Okay, I remember seeing that, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I think it's on Rod's new DVD, the live DVD.
Okay, yeah, man, that's where I saw it. I believe so.
Yeah.
Now, are you still in touch with Rod Swenson or any of the other ex-Plasmatics people?
Still in contact with Rod. In fact, I help administer some of the website and do some shipping and receiving for it. And I stay in touch with some of the newer members of the band. I haven't spoken to Richie or Stu in quite a while, but it's funny, a couple weeks ago, Greg Smith, who I'm in contact with, and he currently plays bass with Ted Nugent. I see him every time he comes to town with the Ted Nugent band. But anyway, he was at a party, and Jean Beauvoir happened to be at the party, so he put him on the phone. It was the first time I talked to him in probably about 20 years.
Interesting, because John was a guest on the show about 8 months ago.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, we just did a phone call thing like we're doing with you, but yeah, it was cool talking to him as well, man. He was an interesting character.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had a great time with him in the band.
Such a talented guy, man.
Oh, very, very, yep.
Well, let me ask you this. I usually don't write questions when I do interviews, but all these things kept coming to me today, so I wrote a ton down about you. Years ago, I think maybe, I'm not even sure what year it was, 2005-ish, I asked you to please help me with the song that we kind of worked on together called Rock and Roll Scallywag, which was awesome. And you sent me a tape with the song, recorded, and then my guy, Dave Glover, translated it and recorded the song note for note. And then I wrote the lyrics and title, and we did a video later and a song in the studio called Rock and Roll Scallywag. So if anyone's interested, that's on YouTube, Rock and Roll Scallywag under Bloody Mess, basically. But yeah, Wes wrote the music on that.
Yeah, that was a cool song. Actually, that was a song I did in the band before I was in the Plasmatics.
Wow.
And I went through a couple different incarnations, but I always liked the chord progression and changes. In fact, I think I even brought it to the Plasmatics, but it wasn't really suitable for what we were doing at the time.
Interesting.
But another song I wrote, again with that band, we did end up using, and that turned into Monkey Suit.
You just look like a monkey. I love that song.
Right.
Also, years ago, there was talk of a Plasmatics or Wendy-O tribute CD that was coming out. That just never happened?
No, that never happened. We did compile a bunch of tracks for it, but I think money-wise, we just didn't have the funds to put it out at the time. So
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe somewhere down the line it'll see the light of day.
Yeah, I actually recorded a song at the time, which is hard to find. It's on YouTube now, but I did a version of the Doom song that I sent to you, and I was listening to it recently, and man, it was just making me realize how awesome that album is that you guys did with Black Leather Monster, Metal Priestess. Just a fantastic record, man.
Yeah, that had some cool tunes on it, and that was kind of like our transition from a punk rock 3-chord band to more of a metal sound. And
yeah, I'm going to play Lunacy after we talk tonight, after the interview.
Mm-hmm.
Such good guitar work and just a great sound on that record. I just love it so much.
Yeah, that was a heavy song. We recorded that in Connecticut with Dan Hartman.
Oh, okay. From Montrose, guys?
Yeah, from Edgar Winter's band.
Okay. Yeah, White Trash.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do today, Wes? Are you playing, or what do you do these days for fun or for livelihood?
I'm kind of semi-retired from playing. I was in a car accident in 2005 and broke my knee, and that kind of slowed me down quite a bit. So, I just kind of play for my own amusement these days, take it easy.
Yeah, I hear you. And you did a lot in your career, Do you have a favorite Plasmatics memory or something that sticks out as like one of the best times you ever had in that band?
Well, just the tour. I think for me, I really enjoyed the European tour we did because it was just one country after the next, you know, and the crowds over there were just incredible. It was just amazing at the time.
Do you have any worse memories? I know, like, for instance, Wendy was beaten in Milwaukee and all that stuff happened.
Well, yeah, that of course was just terrible. That was probably, you know, the down point of everything, because up until that point, you know, we always had a good relationship with police and authority, but that night, for whatever reason, the, you know, Milwaukee Vice Squad decided to take out their aggressions on Wendy, and they just couldn't handle it. We were just too threatening for them.
Yeah, I remember the T-shirts.
So that was a terrible time.
It had to have been. I mean, I know personally she was probably it was hard to come back from that one.
You're right. Yeah.
The T-shirts at the time that were out in support of Wendy and the band that said "Wendy will win." I had one of those for so long, and it got moldy in a basement, so I ended up losing that shirt. What a drag!
Yeah.
What else did I have on my list? Of course, since you're a guitarist and we are a very awesome guitarist, I'm wondering if you have any favorite guitar players, you know, period, in rock and roll.
Oh, favorite guitar players?
Yeah,
well, quite a few. Of course, my all-time favorite was Johnny Thunders.
Oh, yeah.
To me, he was just, you know, he could do more with one note than most guitar players could do with a flurry of notes. But I saw them way back when open for Mott the Hoople in New York, and they just totally blew me away. Went out, got their album the next day, and just been a big fan of his since. Saw him many times. Saw the Dolls again. I was a big fan of the Heartbreakers.
Oh boy, great band.
But he was my favorite, and then after him, I was a real big Mick Ronson fan. Of course, Johnny Ramone for his aggressiveness, and Randy Rhoads when I started getting more into lead guitar playing. I really enjoyed him, and Richie Blackmore. So.
Well, you certainly have good taste. There's not a bad one on that list.
Yeah.
Now, what about today's music? I know that's a tricky question because we all know that most of today's rock really isn't rock and roll like it used to be. But is there anything today that you like?
Right. I don't really listen to a lot of the newer stuff. Like you said, most of it's just unlistenable and very bad. But you know, I like the Butcher Babies. I think they're pretty cool.
And of course, anyone listening, we're not trying to generalize and say that all rock and roll is bad today. Just we're saying most, not all. There's definitely some gems out there as well. I've seen it, but just the minority, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate some of it, but a lot of it I really don't care for it too much.
Well, I'm making notes, and I'm gonna look up some Shock Therapy and also some Butcher Babies. So maybe next week on the show I can play some of these bands. Yeah,
they're pretty cool. Actually, you know, they came out as fans of Wendy. They're fronted by two girls, singers.
Oh, really?
And they used to come out with the black tape over their nipples and. Yeah, their manager started them as kind of like a tribute to Wendy.
Interesting.
But they're a good heavy band. They got some good tunes and kind of a modern metal direction.
Nice. Okay, yeah, I'll check them out for sure then, man. Also, something that most people might not know is that, I think this is right, that you're the only musician that played on every Plasmatics and Wendy-O record?
Right. Yeah, that's correct.
That's pretty awesome, man. You know, I'm a huge fan. I was a friend of Wendy, and I actually met you in person one time backstage in Champaign, Illinois, at Mabel's, a club called Mabel's.
Oh, yeah.
And
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, we were all on LSD, man, and the show was just incredible, of course, with our, you know, senses being stimulated on the acid. But meeting you afterwards, I got so high that I took all these photos of the show, but I didn't save even one to get a picture with Wendy or you. So to this day, I'm like, man, what was I thinking, you know?
Missed opportunity.
Oh, man, I really wanted a photo with you and Wendy. But, you know, I was there, and it was so cool that she welcomed us backstage and was very, very kind to me, which was cool, you know?
Yeah, we always, you know, really enjoyed meeting the fans, and that was the main thing I think we did was, you know, we played for the fans. Well,
the security guard was kind of like, these are those crazy sweaty guys that are been up front all night. What are they doing? Get out of here. And Wendy's like, oh, bloody mess. Get and tell them to come in here. And I'm like, yeah. It's Wendy walking the walk, man, you know. So it was, we always respected Wendy because she was like, open that door and let these guys backstage. You know, I was like, yeah, you know, there was no separation, you know, it was cool. Well, I'm trying to make this kind of quick. I know it's later on your end. If you hadn't been a musician, if you hadn't gone down that path in life, is there something else you would have done that you know of?
Oh, that's a tough call there.
My co-host usually asks that of all of our guests, so I thought I'd steal that one from her.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. When I was younger and in school, I was always interested in science and astronomy, things like that. But early on, I kind of rebelled against authority, and like, you know, millions of my generation, I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan Show, and I was immediately taken by rock and roll.
You were hooked.
Yeah.
How did you first join the Plasmatics? Like, how did that happen?
Well, it's kind of funny. I had a friend from Long Island. Like I said, I was in another band previous to the Plasmatics, and we were putting together a new project, and I was at a rehearsal space, and I saw a friend of mine from high school, and he was down the hall with his band, and he said I think it was his aunt's boyfriend or something was playing at CBGB's. It was kind of a audition night or first time they were playing, or anyway, he wanted to know if I wanted to go down there and check them out. So I said, okay, I'll go down there. And we went down there, and I was immediately taken by the singer on the stage, and it was the Plasmatics. It was the first time they ever played. And I didn't really care for the band at all, but, you know, Wendy was such a riveting performer.
Yeah.
I was just totally mesmerized by the whole thing. And then a couple weeks later, I saw an ad in the Village Voice saying the band was looking for the world's fastest rhythm guitar player. And I called the ad up. You know, it didn't say what band it was. And went down to the audition, and it was like in this basement, this lower Manhattan loft. And I was sitting outside listening to the songs, and they kept working on one song. I found out what band it was and got their 45. They just put out Butcher Baby and Concrete Shoes, so I learned those songs. And while I was waiting to go into the audition, they were teaching everybody another song, so I was waiting. I learned that song. And when I went in, I had a Flying V guitar, and Richie Stotts saw that, and he liked that. He liked my guitar, and I knew the song, and they were kind of impressed by that. But
nice.
I had to go back audition 2 more times before I got the job.
Wow.
And Wendy didn't even show up, you know, for any of those times. So
interesting.
Actually, the first time I met her was the first time I went up to their loft, and they had a little rehearsal space up there. I went up there and met Wendy.
So did you and Wendy have a nice relationship as far as friends? Were you guys close?
Oh, yeah, very. Yeah. Yeah, and she was very protective of the band, too. She always made sure that we had all the stuff we needed backstage after the shows, and made sure we had, you know, food and we were fed. And she was almost like a big sister to us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she was cool. And she would always push us, too. You know, she would push us. We'd be rehearsing all day, and what a typical rehearsal was is we'd go in and would work on new material for maybe an hour or so, and then would run through our set as if it was a live show, and would do it with that same intensity level, just, you know, one song right after the other. And would be finished with the set and would be, you know, exhausted, dripping with sweat. Wendy would turn around and she'd go, okay, let's do it again.
That's awesome.
And, you know, we couldn't say no to her, of course. So.
Well,
that's the way she was. She just pushed everything right to the limit. She
had the drive, man. She was like definitely one of my vocal inspirations, man, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's something that a lot of people may not know about her, is that, you know, she really constantly was trying to push her craft and improve and become a better singer. And I mean, she would jog 5-6 miles a day, you know, to get her stamina up and everything for a show, because it was just nonstop energy from start to finish. And she was into health, a lot, which was inspiring to me because I wasn't so much into health. And I remember speaking with her on the phone, and just after a 40-minute phone call, I've learned like 8 or 9 things about my health that I could do to keep myself alive, kind of thing. And like, she knows what's going on, man. She's a badass. Oh, definitely.
And she's healthy.
Definitely, yep. Her and Rod both were very into that healthy lifestyle, I think, years before it was fashionable.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Are you still healthy?
Yeah. Oh, very. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Just a couple more, Wes, and I'll let you go. One of the questions I wanted to ask was, you went to visit the infamous shock rocker G.G. Allen when he was in prison once, correct?
I did. In fact, that came about because a guy I knew was going to work as part of his backing band when he got out of prison. Asked me if I wanted to get involved with it, and I said, yeah, why not? That sounds pretty interesting. And I wasn't really too much into G.G. Allen, but I listened to some of his material and stuff, and it was much better than I was expecting. And yeah, we went to visit him in prison, and they actually took a picture of us. I think it's floating around on the internet. You might be able to find it.
Yeah, you can Google that. It does pop up, actually. What was the visit like?
Yeah, it was pretty intense. So we spent like the whole day there talking to him, and he was very intelligent and very down to earth, much saner than he came off.
Yeah.
His public persona, but then we got out of prison, he just kind of abandoned the whole thing, said he didn't need us, because we were going to get T.C. Tolliver to play drums.
Wow.
And then the whole thing just, he just blew it off and went off, I guess, played with his brother.
Well, he also blew off Dee Dee Ramone after one rehearsal with Dee Dee, I think, too.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was too bad, but it was interesting. And the funny thing was, I remember him coming to see us when we played up in New Hampshire, and he gave us copies of his first 45s, which I still have. And he was a big Plasmatics Wendy O fan then.
Yeah, see, I knew him real well, and like from 83 to about 87, 88, he was a huge fan of you guys and Iggy and Alice Cooper, and then just a few years later, he got on this real mental trip where anyone that was using like fake blood or that wasn't really hurting themselves, they were fake and they were sissies. I was like, dude, come on. But then I realized that he was literally living what he was preaching, and then he died. So, I mean, he was like really caught up in the insanity, man. It was crazy.
Right, I think so, yeah.
But, I really... Yeah. I'm sorry.
I said it's too bad. I think it could have been interesting.
Yeah, he did a lot of good records, but, so did the Plasmatics, and I'm really super happy that you made the time to come and talk with me on the show tonight, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I really miss Wendy. I really do. She had such a sad ending, and I'm not really going to talk about that because what's there to say except we all miss her, And
you're right.
I don't want to get
for sure every day.
I don't want to bring it up and get all depressed, but we miss her, and she when someone leaves this material world, it's never it's always when it's supposed to happen. So for whatever reason, karmically, she had to check out of here, and she wasn't happy anymore. But long live Wendy, man, and thanks for all the great music you gave us, man. You have a lot of fans out there that still listen to this stuff like religiously, and we love it, man.
I appreciate that. Glad there's still some left out there.
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna let you go, and we're gonna do a song called Lunacy. Is there anything you want to say about the song? Do you remember it, writing it or recording it?
Well, that was Richie's song. He wrote the song, and I do remember recording it. We did, like I said, with Dan Hartman produced it, and we stayed up at his place up in Connecticut. He called it the schoolhouse because it was a converted schoolhouse. And I remember recording the guitars in the room with the old blackboards on the wall, so it got kind of a nice sound to it. And I thought it had we had a real good heavy sound to that song.
Yeah, it's just, if you listen to the first Plasmatics record and then listen to that one back to back, it's such a difference in sound and like direction.
Oh, definitely. Well, we progressed, and I think that was the key. I mean, that was what I really enjoyed about the band. I think is every album was different. We weren't like AC/DC, we weren't like the Ramones, where we kept putting out the same record time after time. We progressed, and we weren't. And Wendy always wanted to take chances and push everything as far as she could.
Awesome. Yeah, there's not a record I don't like by the Plasmatics, that's for sure. If you're tuning in, my friends, you're listening to an interview with Wes Beech of the Plasmatics and Wendy O. Williams. We're at KSKQ Radio. You are at the Church of Rock radio show. Wes Beech, thanks again for being our guest. I guess I'll let you go so you can get some rest over there on the East Coast, man. And
right.
And long live you.
All right, thanks. And remember, keep it hard and heavy and play it loud.
You bet. Thanks so much, Wes. We love you, brother. Take care.
All right, talk to you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Wow. What a legend, man. Wes Beech, the man, the myth. Woo, that was fun, man. I'm going to try to get my song here. I got a song queued up that I've got to get back on, turn my airplane mode on my phone and all that. And if you're listening right now, thanks, guys, for tuning in, man. It was a lot of fun talking to Wes Beech. He is one of my personal rock heroes. So, yeah, pretty cool, man. If there's something you want to hear, give me a call at 541-482-3999. You are at the Church of Rock. This is from the Metal Priestess record featuring Wes Beech on second guitar. Written by Richie Stotts. You heard it from the man. But this is the Plasmatics with Lunacy, the Church of Rock and KSKQ. Trying. Be patient, folks. The phone's doing something strange, and it's live radio, so, you know, all I can do is hope that it will queue up. If not, I'll have to start it over again. Worst case scenario, it's just another minute of my time. No problem. If you don't mind, I don't mind. I'm going to actually close it out and start over. You are at KSKQ Radio, and I am going to go ahead and reset my Wi-Fi as we talk. Boy, that was a fun interview. I'm still kind of I have like an adrenaline high when I talk to people that I really like. Wes Beech, man, he's such a genius. You can like look up some of those things we were talking about as well on the internet. You can check out Gigi Allen and Wes Beech. Here's Lunacy, Church of Rock, KSKQ.
comes at night and takes you out of your head. It shows no mercy when it gets you. Can take the living and can make them dead. There's no escape when it infects you. Primeval power in its most deadly form. You can use it or it can use you.
Everybody, what's up? This is Zach Wild from Black Label Society. Been doing a hang on the Church of Rock. Start firing back some beers.